Morning everyone, welcome to TSN English class, chapter number 8, The Silk Road from the book Hornbill. So previously we have read about this. The author sat alone in a cafe and over a glass of tea he thought about his future plans, and he thought that he would go alone on such a difficult pilgrimage of Kora. And he knows that some parts of this route were liable to blockage by some snow, and he doesn't know whether the snow has cleared or not. So nobody in the town of Dasan knew enough English to understand and answer his question. So he is sitting alone in that cafe, and at Dasan, his companion Zetan left him, and in the previous paragraph we have read that luckily narrator met a guy whose name is Norbu. So today we'll start from this paragraph, and it's here. I did not think he was from those parts because he was wearing a windsheeter and metal rimmed spectacles of a Western style. He was Tibetan, but he told me, but worked in Beijing at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences in the Institute of Ethnic Literature. I assumed he was on some sort of field work. Here, the conversation began between the author and that boy. And here he met a guy whose name is Norbu. I did not think he was from those parts of because he wearing a windsheeter and a mental rimmed spectacle. Now, author is making himself understand about that Norbu is from which place because he is wearing some different clothes. सो नॉर्बू जो है उसने क्या कपड़े पहने हुए थे. सो हियर नैरेटर इज डिस्क्राइबिंग अबाउट हिज क्लोथ दैट ही इज़ नॉट फ्रॉम दैट डासन प्लेस और डासन विलेज बिकॉज ही इज़ वेयरिंग समथिंग डिफरेंट क्लोथ एंड ही इज़ वेयरिंग अ विंड शीटर. सबसे पहले उसने विंड शीटर इज़ अ काइंड ऑफ jacket which made up of some plastic or like synthetic material, and ही इज़ वेयरिंग मेटल रिम्ड स्पेक्टिकल्स. उसने मेटल की धातु से या फ्रेम से बने वाले स्पेक्टिकल्स पहने थे इन अ वेस्टर्न स्टाइल. ही वॉज टिबेटन एंड इट लुक्स लाइक जैसे वो एक टिबेटन है और ही बिलोंग्स फ्रॉम तिब्बत. ही टोल्ड मी बट वर्कड इन बीजिंग एट द चाइनीज़ अकेडमी ऑफ साइंसेज. एंड उसने ये सब कहा उससे, एंड अगेन ही इज़ टेलिंग हिम that he is working in some academy, Chinese Academy of Social Sciences in Beijing, in the Institute of Ethnic Literature. And in that institute, जो हम कहते हैं एथनिक लिटरेचर्स के बारे में पढ़ाया जाता है. आई अज्यूम्ड ही वॉज ऑन द सम सॉर्ट ऑफ फील्ड वर्क, एंड ऐसा नैरेटर इज अज्यूमिंग दैट ही इज़ डूइंग सम सॉर्ट ऑफ field work. Yes and no, he said. I have come to do the Kora. My heart jumped. And here, that man, Norbu, is saying that I'm here for the Nora, or for this pilgrimage tour, that he also wants to complete that Nora tour here. So my heart jumped. Narrator जो है he is feeling very very happy because he wants a companion with him, because Zetan left him. Norbu had been writing academic papers about the Kailash Kora, because here Norbu is saying that I want to write some papers or academic papers on Kailash Kora and its importance in various work of Buddhist literature, and he also wants to write its importance so that he can mention all these things in Buddhist literature for many years. And he told me, but he had never actually done it himself. बट उसने ये सब कुछ कभी नहीं खुद से किया था. सो ही इज़ नेवर डन विद हिमसेल्फ. व्हेन द टाइम केम फॉर मी टू टेल हिम what brought me to Dawson, his eyes lit up. We could be a team, he said excitedly. two academics who have escaped from the library. Perhaps my positive thinking strategy was working after all. Here, when the time came, so narrator is waiting for a moment, and then he said that why he's coming to Dasan. He's coming to Dasan because, so after mentioning that why he's coming to Dasan, his eyes lit up. That man Norbu is feeling very happy. We could be a team, and your narrator is telling him that if you are agree, then we could be a team. He said excitedly. उसने बहुत ही excitedly ये सब बातें कही. Two academics who have escaped from the library, he is telling about themselves that we are the two people or two academic people who escaped from the library. just हम वो दो people हैं जो library से भाग गए हैं या academic एक विद्वान लोग हैं. Perhaps my positive thinking strategy was working after all. And here, narrator is thinking some positive thoughts are in his mind. My initial relief at meeting Norbu, who was also staying in the guest house, was tempered by the realization that he was almost as ill equipped as I was for the pilgrimage. So here he's saying that Norbu is also taking relief in that same guest house, or he is staying in that same guest house in which the narrator is staying, and Dasan, who was also staying the same, and was tempered by the realization that he was almost as ill equipped. And again, the narrator, he was very feeling very tempered when he realized that the man Norbu is also ill-equipped as I was for the pilgrimage. And so the both the men are not having proper equipments for that Koru pilgrimage. He kept telling me how fat he was and how hard it was going to be. And that man Norbois kept telling me that because of his obesity, or because of his fat, or because of his chubbiness of his body, how hard it was for that man Norbu, for going to be very hard for him to very high up. He kept reminding me so tiresome to walk, and he kept reminding the narrator that it was a very difficult pilgrimage where we can walk, or where we can go through. So this one, or this whole journey is very 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 tiring for people. Really a practicing Buddhist, it's transpired, but he had enthusiasm, and he was of course Tibetan. ये सब कहने के बाद भी, all these things, उसने जब ये कहा that he is suffering from obesity and he feels very tired, but still he is like a man जो कि बुद्धिस्ट का या बुद्धिस्ट से बिल्कुल भी ट्रांसपायर्ड. देयर इज़ अ वर्ड विच इज़ इंस्पायर्ड एंड ट्रांसपायर्ड. सो इंस्पायर्ड मीन्स व्हेन वी आर, जब हम किसी चीज़ से इंस्पिरेशन लेते हैं, एंड ट्रांसपायर्ड इज ऑपोजिट ऑफ दैट व्हेन वी डोंट हैव इंटरेस्ट इन सम काइंड ऑफ थिंग. लाइक इससे बुद्धिस्ट से ट्रांसपायर्ड था, यानी बिल्कुल भी इंस्पायर्ड नहीं था. सो हियर, but still he is feeling very enthusiastic, but still he is feeling very very happy about this journey of Kora. And he was of course a Tibetan, and this time he knows that he is of course a Tibetan. Although I do originally envisaged making the trek in the company of devout believers, on reflection I decided that perhaps Norbu would turn out to be the ideal companion. He suggested we hire some yaks to carry our luggage, which I interpreted as a good sign, and he had no intention of prostrating himself all around the mountain. Not possible, he cried, collapsing across the table in hysterical laughter. It wasn't his style, and anyway, his tummy was too big. So here, although I do originally envisaged. So here, narrator is mentioning that that he's envisaged means उसने शुरू से ही आई डू ओरिजिनली एनविसेज उसने शुरू से ही एनविसेज मीन्स इमेजिन किया था दैट सो ही इज़ इमेजिनिंग दैट जो उसकी जो ये यात्रा है उस पर जो है वो ऐसे लोगों के साथ होगी कंपनी ऑफ डिवोट बिलीवर्स हु आर डिवोटीज ऑफ द बिलीवर्स ऑफ दिस यात्रा यानी ऐसे श्रद्धालु भक्तों के साथ होगी ऑन रिफ्लेक्शन आई डिसाइडेड दैट परहैप्स एंड उसके बाद वो सोचने लगा दैट इट माइट हैव दैट नोरबू ही उसका ideal companion hai. So Norbu is the true companion, ideal companion. He suggested we hire some yaks, and here Norbu is suggesting him that for this journey we'll have some yaks. Those yaks will carry our luggage, which I interpreted और इन बातों को narrator is interpreted as a good sign. He's taking these all these things as a good sign, and he had no intention of prostrating himself all round the mountain. And पूरी जो ये उनकी जो पूरी माउंटेनियस ये जर्नी थी उसमें उन लोगों का कोई इंटेंशन हियर ही हैड नो इंटेंशन ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट्रेटिंग हिमसेल्फ ऑल राउंड द माउंटेन उनका कोई प्रोटेस्ट्रेटिंग हियर मीन्स कि कोई इरादा नहीं था. सम पीपल आर लाइक जो इस तरीके की रिलीजियस यात्राओं पे जब जाते हैं और पिलग्रिमेज प्लेसेस पे व्हेन पीपल आर गोइंग थ्रू दैट प्लेसेस तो वो लेट कर जो प्रणाम करते हैं दैट इज़ कॉल्ड दंडवत प्रणाम. प्रोटेस्ट्रेटिंग हियर मीन्स उस तरह जाने का नैरेटर का दैट ही हैड नो इंटेंशन लाइक दैट. नॉट पॉसिबल ही क्राइड कोलैप्सिंग अक्रॉस द टेबल एंड ही इज़ अगेन सेइंग और वो उसने हंसते हुए ही इज़ कोलैप्सिंग अक्रॉस द टेबल उसने हंसते हुए और बहुत ज़ोर से कहा दैट this kind of thing is not possible with the narrator and that person. And anyway, his tummy was too big. And here he is mentioning that the tummy of that man, Norbu, is very big. So the writer thought so because the newcomer was wearing a Western style dress and a wind cheater and a metal rimmed spectacles. So here Norbu had come there for Kora, a Tibetan word for pilgrimage to Kailash. So Norbu here also coming here for the Kora pilgrimage, that means Kailash mountain pilgrimage. And Norbu had been writing academic papers on Kailash Kora and its importance of Buddhist literature. So he had never done Kailash pilgrimage earlier, say, and in the end of the chapter both of them were deciding for both of them were decided that they would be or both of them would be the ideal companions for each other so that they can complete this whole pilgrimage session of their journey. And the narrator decided to the pilgrimage not on the foot but on the yaks as Norbu suggested him in the end. So here your Hornbill book chapter number 8 is finished.